I have a question for all of you. Are you rushing your marketing instead of strengthening it? Hi, my name is Donna Peterson. Most of you probably know that every single morning I work out. As a competitive swimmer, it is in my blood to get up, get moving in the morning, and try to make your body flexible and as strong as possible. But I realized, and I put this analogy together the other day when I was lifting weights, and I thought about how I used to lift weights back many years ago and why my fitness programs always failed. And I realized there's a correlation between my failed fitness programs and how B2B brands are doing their marketing today. So many of us are rushing, and I'm a rusher. I rush through everything. I rush through what I do at work. I rush when I get home and I make dinner. I rush through my workouts. Ask anyone in my family, I am a rusher and I need to slow down. And that started with my fitness routine. I had always worked out at home. And when I went to lift weights, it was like, okay, I've got this much time. Okay, let's get those exercises done. Let's go. And I would rush through lifting my weights. And I realized I wasn't getting the full benefit. I wasn't getting that full benefit of going slow up and the resistance as I went down. And B2B brands, this is what you're doing with your marketing. We're all trying to get so much content out there so our prospects can see it. And so they'll come to our website or they'll ask a question or they'll download something or they'll ask for a price sheet or specs on pieces of equipment. We're trying to get that one piece out there that really resonates with them, but we're rushing. And what I learned through my fitness programs is we have to slow down. For my weightlifting, my muscles weren't fully engaged. I wasn't building strength. I was just going through the motions. We as marketers were just throwing content out there and hopes that the people will resonate with it, that they'll see it. But over the years, like I said, I've started to slow down as I do my weightlifting programs. I'm not doing as many reps. I'm doing less reps and I'm gaining more strength. And I've noticed this recently, even with marketing here at World Innovators. I asked my team, okay, let's all slow down, me included.
Before we jump in, your host is Donna Peterson, and you are listening to the B2B Marketing Excellence and AI podcast. We come to you every week with actionable tips and suggestions that can help you be more efficient, create better marketing plans, and be a salesperson that really closes those leads.
Let's slow down and think about what we're putting out in the marketplace. It's not just to post a billion blogs or to get a ton of podcasts out there. We need to make sure that we create content that has real depth. We create content that answer the questions of our target audience. We create content that creates more meaning and purpose for us as an individual. I know the thought of getting out a blog and World Innovators, we started doing blogs, I think it was back in 2010. So we've put out a lot of blogs, but it was never had deep meaning. It never had depth. Matter of fact, for the longest time in my work, I didn't feel the meaning. I really thought I'd have to change jobs, be in a nonprofit, be at a food bank or something to feel like I had real meaning and purpose to offer the world. But I realized I can offer meaning and purpose right where I am, and you can too. And this is why I'm asking you, stop right now. Think about what you're doing. Just don't push out content. Push out valuable pieces of information that your audience needs. What happens when you do that is not only will it resonate with your audience, but you're going to start to build trust with your audience. And when you start to build trust, they'll become a loyal customer of yours that you'll have for years to come. You won't have that sales cycle going up and down. You'll have that nice growth of sales that you can use over and over. Here's the truth. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Quality over quantity, depth over speed. Whether you're talking about your fitness routine, your weightlifting program, or whether you're talking about your marketing, those are that's what we got to concentrate on. I know now when I talk about marketing, I don't like to talk about marketing. I like to talk about relationship building, whether it's marketing and sales or whether it is business growth for a whole corporation. It has to be around building relationships. So here are some steps for you. The first action step for you is to review your last 3 campaigns. For each one of them, ask yourself, was this done for output or for outcome? Did it have a real meaning? Did you put a lot of weight in it? Did you give people actionable steps that they could utilize? Did you talk to them the way they want to be spoken to? Did you answer a concern, a challenge, a goal of theirs? That's what you have to do. Everything that we put out there has to teach something. It has to inspire them to take action and to build trust. There are so many companies out there today pushing their content out there. You have to make sure you stand out by offering that good quality content that offers depth, that has meaning. Make sure that people take that action. We saw that with our podcast. I recently sat down with our team and I said, guys, okay, we're doing 1 podcast every single week. Do we feel like our podcasts are offering deep value? Do you feel the promoting of our podcasts are really pushing it out there to the right audience? Would it be better if we slowed down, if we did 2 podcasts a month instead of a weekly podcast? Do we feel we could add more depth to our podcast then and also push it out to the right audiences that would find value in it if we slow down? And it was very interesting because one of my team members came back and she said, I think that would be a good idea because you're also going to give the listener time to digest what you said and to implement it. And I found this interesting because I wasn't thinking about how the customer or prospect was receiving the information and how they could implement it or the time that it would take to implement it. Instead, I was thinking about, did it offer value? And we as a company, are we pushing it out into the marketplace to the right audience enough times to get it the views that it deserved, to show people that these are quality ways of doing marketing with good actionable steps? And when that team member brought that to my attention, I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. That really is the premise of everything we do here at World Innovators. Everything we do here at World Innovators is to inspire success, but it's also getting people to implement the steps we give them. And if I don't give them enough time to do that, then it's not worth it. Because if people don't implement what you're saying, you're not bringing any value to the table. And this is just like when I'm teaching my AI courses. I like to do the same thing. I want to make sure there is enough weeks or days in between the sessions so that they can digest what I said, take the homework that I give them, and actually put it into work before we meet again. Otherwise, all we're doing is like we're piling up all this stuff, like great idea, but nothing is getting implemented. And when that team member brought that insights to me, it was an aha moment for us. And it was almost sealed the deal that, yeah, you know what? We have to step back. We have to step back, offer real value in our podcast, but give our listeners enough time to implement what we have. And so this is just like when we're doing strength training and in your marketing, you have to slow down. We have to be intentional, and we've got to make sure we get it out in the marketplace. Don't skip the cool down. This is another part of my weightlifting workout I had a real issue with. I would be rushing to get things done, click it off my to-do list so that I would do the cardio, do the weightlifting. But when it's time for cool down, I'm like, I'll cool down. As I'm getting changed for work, I'm cooling down. I'll stretch a little here, do a little there. But I wouldn't actually do a cool down. And marketers do the same. After a campaign, we move straight into the next one without ever reviewing what actually worked. Again, our podcast is a great example of that. Our podcast gets put out onto YouTube and several of the podcast channels. But I have to tell you, because we are trying to do one every week, and we have other things that we're doing, plus we have our client work, analysis of the YouTube channel does not always happen. And this is another good reasons why we need to slow down, do less episodes so that our clients not only can put it into action, what we tell them, but we can also analyze from our YouTube what is most of interest to them. What is resonating to them? What episodes do they listen to the most? And that all comes back down for slowing down, reflecting on what has happened. Do that cool down is where real insights happen. That's where when we cool down, we've learned this now with the weight training and everything, but when you give your muscles time to recover, that's when you grow that strength. That's where your body gets stronger. You're not just beating on your body. You're giving it time to recover. And then when you go into your next workout, your body is stronger. You are going to see a difference. So step 2, every campaign schedule at least a 20-minute review. See, this is where I'm saying we don't have to pull a big, huge team meeting that lasts hours to review the campaign. No one has that amount of time. But can you take 20 minutes? Could you do a survey out to your team about the last project? How do you feel it works? Look at what happened to me just with that one team member. That was just a quick email to her saying, I have this idea. I think we're going to cut back the podcast episode. What are your thoughts? And she came in with that insight that was like, whoa, I wasn't even thinking about how the listener was digesting the material. I was only thinking about adding value. But if people can't implement it, I'm just creating noise. I'm creating noise because no one is implementing what I'm saying. So schedule those 20-minute messages or 20-minute meetings to review your campaigns. What messages were meaningful? What's worked? What hasn't? Did people comment? What were their comments? What do you feel didn't land right? How could you change things up? How could you make each initiative that you put out there, whether it is a quick minute taping, whether it is a newsletter you're doing or a podcast you're doing, how can you do it so it lands better with your audience, offering it more value? What should you adjust for the next time? These are all things to review. And when you're doing this quick review, why don't you check with one of your customers who received that piece of content? How did they receive it? Did they think it was a good resource of their time to look at it? Did they implement anything? Ask one of your sales rep, is it a good piece? Does the prospect or customer receive it well? Do you get questions about them? Ask them, see if it resonated with the audience, see if people are actually implementing some of the steps that you're incorporating. It's that recovery that helps your marketing get stronger for the next round. Just like I said, when we rest after weightlifting, our body gets stronger and it's ready for that next workout. And this is where AI can really help you, because you could sit there and you could look at your results, put it into AI and really analyze it, but scrutinize it back and forth. Even when I'm working with clients, yes, I will give them opens and clicks, but the best is when I can sit down calmly with the client and say, what did you see on the back end? What resonated? Did people actually come in? Did they bid in on the auction? Did they buy that piece of equipment? Did they sign up for that executive education program? You need that back end information, because sometimes what I think looks like a great source based on opens and clicks, if no one bought or no one took that next action with the client, then you know what? We have to rethink that. And sometimes lists that I think, or promotions that I think didn't respond well, ended up bringing in one really big buyer. Guess what? That is a great resource to go after. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't go after that back end information from the client. So try to get all the pieces, put it together and review it for a short time frame. And I'll go faster each time as you start to see exactly what you need to look at, but you'll also get steps in place, like put out the feelers, gather all the information, sit for 20 minutes, evaluate it, and get that information. The third thing you've got to work on is creating that rhythm. It doesn't help if I go and I lift weights on a Monday. I do a great hour workout. I do it nice and slow, like you're supposed to. I rest in between the sets and everything. If I don't go back and lift weights for another 2 weeks, that doesn't work. You've got to make sure that you push, you rest, and you repeat during your workout. But then when you do your cadence, you've got to make sure it's every other day or every, 4 days. It has to have a nice rhythm so that you keep the momentum going, so that each thing that you do builds off the other. And marketing's that way. You've got to do that, because everything that you push out there should not be in their separate fields. Everything should be working together off of that kind of that tree trunk, and they should build off of each other. For instance, we're taking like questions of our audience, and from that one question, we build the podcast, we build a blog, we have social media posts. All of them are feeding that one particular question. And you have to do that with your content, because you want the content pieces to be like those building blocks, one or after another. You don't want them out here all alone, because it's too hard. There's too many other messages out there. And if you don't build off of each other or complement each other, you don't create that nice cohesive approach that builds that trust with the individual and brings them in. It gives them the information to make that decision to work with you. You're not like, oh, buy this, buy this. You've got to join this association. You can't live without it. No. Give them all the details and let people say, you know what? I really need to be part of this. I really need to work with her. She's going to be able to help me. So your third step is to set up a sustainable, stressing the word sustainable, rhythm of your marketing. When I talk to people about creating a podcast and they're like, okay, I'll create a podcast. And some will say, I'm going to do it daily. I'm like, okay, if you've never done a podcast before, no, don't do it daily. Set up a cadence that you can start with. Set it up once a month. Stick to that cadence. Get very good at once a month. Then try twice a month. And then go weekly. And then you have to evaluate, okay, you may be able to keep up with it, but are you giving it the legs it needs? Are you giving it the depth it needs? Are you able to really plan it out, execute it thoughtfully, and then measure it carefully on what is working and what is not? You're going to be amazed at how much more consistent and effective your efforts become when you stop rushing and sprinting and start to pace yourself. Reflect on, like, our podcast, what we've done. Yeah, I can keep up with the week, but are we doing a thorough job promoting it? Are we giving the listeners enough time to implement what we teach them? Because my goal is in every single podcast to give actionable steps that people can actually implement. Otherwise, I'm just talking. I'm just talking like all the other podcasts out there. Everybody else talking about AI. Everyone else talking about B2B marketing. I want to give you actionable steps because that's what I was always looking for. I hated when I heard people say, oh, you should do this. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. But how do I do it? When they left me hanging, I'm like, that's no good. All that did is put up in my head like, oh my God, I need to do this, but I don't know how to get started. This podcast is to give you actionable steps on how to get started. Try these 3 steps. Think about how you can slow down. You can build up content that really has depth, that has meaning, that answers your audience's questions. Give it time to really sink in with your audience and deliver it on different channels so that they create that cohesive strategy and they see it all over the place. You really have to be able to be out there and analyze it too. Analyze it to see what is working, because sometimes what we think is great, like I'll do podcast episode, but I'm like, yes, that was a great episode. And then I see no one's comment. No one's even viewed it. It's okay. Maybe you think it was great, Donna. But really, it wasn't what they wanted to hear. So you have to go over that and reevaluate it all the time. As you move through this week, ask yourself, am I rushing my marketing or sales messages, or am I strengthening it? Now, I talk about AI regularly. I train on it. I give presentations and speak at large conferences on AI because right now we are in this golden opportunity to have these tools that can help us create this messaging. We can learn about our audience and give them the messaging that really resonates with them, and then give them that content that has educational pieces of value right in it. It is a wonderful time because this is where we can really give meaning and purpose to what we're doing. We're just not pushing messaging out there. We're not just talking about our own company. We're giving people what they need. Take one campaign, take one message, slow it down, give it the full weight of your attention. Add substance, and then review it afterwards. Because lasting success doesn't come from rushing. All those reps I did all those years did nothing for me. I wish I had learned that sooner, both in weightlifting and also in business. Because even with business, I was rushing to get tons of content out there for the longest time and nothing was taking. It wasn't until we slowed down as a company and thought about offering true value, giving the information our audience needs, that we started to see our business needle move upward each year, because we offer value, because we truly care. And here's just one tip. Make sure you're being authentic. Don't offer messaging out there that isn't really your wheelhouse. For me to talk to you about website design, that's not my wheelhouse. So create that strong foundation so that your business can grow into the future. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the B2B Marketing Excellence in AI podcast. If you'd like to talk about your specific audience, what your offering is, and how you can offer true value out there to them, please feel free to reach out to me. We can also talk about how you can leverage AI to get all that work done. If you're interested in have any AI training for your team or for you as an individual, or if you'd like me to speak at an upcoming event, reach out to me at dpeterson@worldinnovators.com. Until next time, everyone, have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the World Innovators B2B Marketing Excellence and AI podcast. If you'd like to be updated when new episodes come out, don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out our social media accounts to stay up to date on B2B marketing trends.